Hello everybody. In this session, we should be doing advanced Anapanasati. This is going to be serenely relaxing and insightful.
Welcome to this advanced Anapanasati meditation. Take a moment to sit nice and comfortably with a straight but relaxed spine. Slightly lower your chin, which will help to elongate your spine. And close your eyes. We will begin with some controlled breathing before we go deeper into the practice. Breathe in through your nose to a count of 4. And pause for 4. Breathe out of the mouth for 4. Again, pause for 4. And repeat. And all we are doing is calmly observing the breath flowing through the body. And we're using those cycles of 4 counts just to help us to relax and to focus. This is not done in traditional Buddhist meditation, which is why we will soon let go of the counting, but it does help at the beginning of our session. Now let's take a moment to just observe where we are currently at, noticing the quality of the mind and the body. There is no right or wrong, we're just noticing where we're currently at. And let's remind ourselves that no matter what we have been doing up to now, and no matter what comes after, for this short little while, the only thing that we must do is breathe and meditate. Just continuing to observe the breath flowing through the body, and I shall be quiet for a few moments to allow you to do that. Being conscious of how we are the creators of the breath. Alan Watts says that when we do Anapanasati, we move from passive breathing to active breathing. Passive means we are not aware of ourselves creating the breath. Active means that we are. Now, if you do struggle to focus, continue to count your breaths. If, however, you find focusing comes naturally for you, feel free to let go of the counting and simply let your breath come and go as it will, uncontrolled. And here we are doing what is called the first tetrad of Anapanasati, which is your quintessential mindfulness of breath. As you continue to observe your breath, visualize the breath as one. There is no in-breath nor out-breath. There is just one continual process. Also, be aware of the energy behind the breath. There is ki behind the breath. Be aware of that ki. And so all we are doing is enjoying, observing the breath flowing through the whole body. We are conscious of ourselves as creators of the breath, and we are conscious of the energy of ki behind the breath. And now we are going to move into the second tetrad of Anapanasati. Because the mind and body are now relaxed, we will experience the feeling of rapture, piti. Observe this state of rapture mindfully. The sutta instructs us to maintain mindfulness of breath while observing feelings. We are aware of that feeling of rapture, and we are anchored, as Thich Nhat Hanh would say, anchored to the breath. And so to now, all that we are doing is sitting, observing the breath, which is cultivating the feeling of peacefulness within. We use the breath as anchor while being mindfully aware of that feeling of peacefulness. Buddha instructed us to be aware of when we experience moments of dispassion, relinquishment, inconstancy, and cessation, to be aware of the mental states that we go through. Again, continuing to use the breath as anchor, while simply being aware of those movements of the mind. Notice too how your mind craves positive feelings and tries to avoid negative feelings. And we're just observing these patterns of the mind calmly as we use the breath as the anchor for our awareness. Now, because we are becoming less reactive to movements of the mind, we are cultivating joy, and the joyful mind is still. Notice how you are beginning to feel joyful and more mentally still. And now let us move into the fourth tetrad. In this tetrad, we use reflections to free the mind. Be aware of the impermanence of things. Notice how thoughts and feelings arise, wash over you, and then fade away. Thus are all things impermanent. And so, we are sitting and breathing. We are using the breath as an anchor for the mind. We have cultivated peacefulness and joy, which has stilled the mind. And now we are observing how thoughts, feelings, and also external stimuli may come, wash over us, and fade away, and thus how all things are impermanent. And we shall stay here, aware of the breath as the anchor, allowing thoughts and feelings and external stimuli to come, wash over us, and fade away. And I will also note, although we shan't do it here, that there is another form of Anapanasati. As Zen Master Katsuki Sakita states, some forms of Buddhism, especially Tibetan and in Mongolia, use a form of throat singing Anapanasati, which perhaps might be an interesting thing to explore next. Now, it is very important, in fact I consider it perhaps the most important part of meditation, that we conclude our session consciously, gradually. We shall open our eyes very slowly to a count of 5. As we do so, we bring with us this sense of peaceful awareness and the consciousness of the impermanence of things. 1, our eyes open a tiny little bit. 2, we are still peacefully aware. 3, 4, and 5, and we are back. And just take a moment to yourself. Notice how you're feeling. Notice what changes have occurred.
I hope you enjoyed that guided, advanced Anapanasati meditation. Thank you for joining me. If you would like to go further in your own meditation practice and work with me privately, join me for private meditation lessons on thedailymeditation.com. Thank you.